Good morning, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. So if we can start to gather here a moment. So good morning, everyone. My name is Melissa Washington. I'm Vice President of External Affairs and Large Customer Services for ComEd. And I want to welcome you to our training facility here. We are delighted that Bronzeville Community Development Partnership has elected to hold its very important summit here today. Just to tell you a little bit about the training center, we opened this training center in February of 2016. This is only the second center that ComEd has built from the ground up in our 130-year history. And the first one that we opened was in 2013, and that was in Rockford. So Chicago, this is the only training facility that we have here. Both facilities are playing a major role in developing the skills needed to plan, manage, and maintain a smart grid system built to meet the demands of the 21st century. Both training centers were key features of the Energy Infrastructure Modernization Act of 2011, and it's really our way of modernizing the grid. We serve nearly 4 million customers in ComEd's jurisdiction, and both of these facilities are designed not only to support our own training and development, but also to serve as a learning lab and meeting resources within the area of those locations. So as you can see today, where you're housed right now is what we consider a learning lab. We've got the windows there, and you'll be able to see it in the other room as well. This is where people are coming and training and learning how to work on the grid. And I can't think of an event that we'd be more excited to host than the Bronzeville International Summit. We're preparing ComEd employees here to plan for, to manage, and maintain the 21st century grid. So it provides a perfect setting for a serious discussion about smart technology, smart solutions, and how to best support the next level of sustainability efforts for the Bronzeville South Lakefront area. We are pleased to partner with the Bronzeville Community Development Partnership and its president, Paula Robinson, who has devoted a sizable chunk of her life in the last 2 decades to championing for the community, where she was born and has lived most of her life. So I'm sure many of you have worked with Paula many years, so you definitely know where her passion is. We're partnering with Paula, as well as the BCDP and other leaders here today on the Bronzeville Community of the Future, a project through which we are collaborating and exploring the possibilities of how we can leverage the grid further. And we're introducing new services, new products to enhance everyday life. The Innova electric vehicles that you will see on display when you were coming in are part of one of those examples of where we're trying to leverage new technologies. Roman Karapis is here somewhere. He might be out by the car still talking about it. But he's here, and I encourage you to talk to him and get into the vehicles, fill them out, because what we're going to be doing is launching a pilot to arrive in Bronzeville very soon, and we'll be talking about that more throughout the day. But getting back to the community of the future, our vision includes also microgrid technology. ComEd has filed with the Illinois Commerce Commission for the Bronzeville microgrid deployment. ComEd is currently involved in several DOE research projects and grants, and the whole design is to be able to advance a state-of-the-art microgrid, including the development of a microgrid controller. So that's basically the brains of the microgrid. And this project is planned to be carried out in the center and then context of the Bronzeville community. The microgrid would be adjacent to the one that's already existing at IIT. And as I mentioned before, the controller is really the ability to connect them together and to manage them. And it's very important that ComEd and Illinois sees this opportunity because, as I mentioned, we're leveraging existing funding from the DOE. And this is really important because it will place us into a position to participate in very early learnings about microgrids. And this is important because we know that distributed generation is continuing to grow and expand rapidly, and we want to be part of that early learning. So we understand at ComEd that infrastructure is not just about poles and lights, but it's about lives, and that's why the Community of Future initiative involves many, many projects, as well as things such as battery storage EV charging, off-the-grid wind and solar, LED streetlights from Eris. It's also involving a collaboration, and many of the Bronzeville community members who have engaged with us over the last, I'd say year and a half, have really helped us understand from their perspective what are the needs of Bronzeville. So I just want to thank you for engaging with us. Thank you for participating in dialogues and educating us on what's important to the community, and we appreciate the partnership that we've developed, and we look forward to that continuing to grow. But we've got a long way to go in designing the future, and that's why that continued partnership is so essential. So ComEd is also pursuing smart city initiatives as a way to further leverage infrastructure and capabilities developed through smart grid investment. These are significant investments and have created infrastructure and capabilities that should be central to deploying smart city initiatives, which we're here to talk about today, throughout the ComEd service territory. And we are excited about the possibilities of what will come out of this. And again, thank you, Paula. Thank you, Bronzeville, for allowing us to be a partner. And so I'm going to turn it over to Paula now. And if you have any questions about this particular location, or if you have any questions about what the possibilities are, I want to make sure you know that this center is open to the public. We have a lot of school-age kids that have school trips here, and we encourage that. This is a community center that we share, and we want you to not only learn, but we want to encourage the young students to learn, because we are always recruiting STEM-educated future leaders. So thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Well, we are excited about the Bronzeville Community of the Future collaboration. And when I had the first opportunity to come here and see the Smart Center and obviously this Workforce Center and the Smart Hub, we felt like this was the perfect place for our next summit. And so really appreciate ComEd hosting us here today, because that's exactly what we want to do, as Melissa said, is to start asking questions, start engaging more on what does this mean as it relates to all of these new jobs coming for renewable energy, the Future Energy Jobs Act, all of these things that we have been hearing more about. We now want to start translating, making it more relevant at the community level, and then really figuring out what are our strategies going to be to ensure that these jobs are coming to our community, and that we're also a part of this new 21st century that we're in, but forging ahead on. So I think there's been a lot of confusion and almost a self-fulfilling prophecy that these new jobs aren't going to the community. We're not going to be ready. All of this is going to be displacement. We're going, no, let's stop. That's what this summit is about. We hold this summit every year as our way of being accountable to the strategies. You hear all about this, and then it's like, what happened? So we want to be accountable. We see the summit as reporting out, and so that's what we're going to be doing throughout the day. And so we wanted to kick off today with this announcement, and the announcement is that we have completed our 2016 centennial celebration of the Great Migration. And it was a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. Many of the people that are here in this room have basically said, okay, what's next? What are we doing next? And the Bronzeville Community Development Partnership focuses on what we call T3, which stands for Tourism, Technology, and Transportation. And so we've spent really 20 years still on our mission. The mission has not changed. The vision is to develop Bronzeville as a sustainable, international, African-American heritage tourism destination. And so when we've talked about how do you do that, well, you do it with lots of partnerships. And so what we've been focusing on in terms of getting that destination developed began with some partners that I'm going to ask to come up and join us in a minute. but we started learning about preservation, and preservation is one of the highest forms of sustainability. So really, we've been involved in sustainability in restoring Bronzeville for 20 years. The heritage tourism and really making it a destination to come alive, we thought that the centennial gave us an opportunity to show why the Great Migration is a significant American story. And that's what the National Park Service really requires, to be able to translate with neighborhood partners why the story of the Great Migration, the things that came out of that, are significant. And when we think about the Black Belt, Chicago's Black metropolis, and so many partners have done such wonderful documentaries about the Black metropolis. I think about the WTTW piece. Several people in this room were a part of that, where we talk about just from DeSable to Obama. And you know, we never thought that Obama would actually happen, and it did. And so when we say that we are going to be a part of this next generation of technology, we are going to drive this. A lot of times people don't really think that that's going to happen at the community level. We didn't think we were going to have an African-American president either. But part of what we need to recognize is that the Black Belt is arguably one of Chicago's first, what we now call innovation districts. It was a restricted area, but because of that, what happens with innovation? It gets created by the mother of necessity, as they say. And so many, many things came out of that, not just the music and cultural innovation, but everything from open heart surgery, you name it. So of course we're going to be involved in the electric vehicle. Of course we're going to be involved in the microgrid. Of course we want to understand how technology can be, will be an economic foundation for us, an economic platform. That's why we chose our keynote speaker, and I'm hoping that you all will stay for lunch. I needed somebody to break this down for me, kind of like a 101 primer. And I found that through an introduction of James Carlini. So that is some of what today has really been designed for you. It's been designed for you to see some of the things that we've been involved in, to ask questions, to figure out how you're going to bring your classrooms back here, to identify the fact that we're starting with one car, but this is really a continuation of something that we wanted to bring back, which is, you know, rideshare is not new. Jitney, you know, I mean, what haven't we, you know, innovated at some point based on necessity? And so right now we have a necessity again. You know, we have to find work. We have to tell people to do more than just, you know, stop the violence. We've got to find other things that keep you so busy that you're like me, you're so tired that all you can do is go home and go to sleep and get up and go to that job the next day. So those are the challenges. And so what we're launching today is a new campaign called Bronzeville Smart. And so you're hearing a lot about Smart City, and we're gonna get one. I actually think it's gonna be in the Bronzeville TIF. And you know that the Bronzeville Community Development Partnership was one of the developers that was selected for what we call the Michael Reese site, which is in the Bronzeville TIF. And our team is called GRIT. I have the boards up by the window for you to view what our renderings were and why we think we were selected. But immediately we said, you know, this is a site that would attract a potential technology tenant. And as you all know, yesterday was the deadline for bids on the Amazon, on the Amazon bid. But we know that what attracts the kinds of companies that we want that are saying we would be bringing 50,000 jobs, that's what we want. They do expect that there's going to be that kind of resiliency in place, that kind of energy efficiency, and certainly a company like that gives us a good example of what to work for, work around, because it's the future. So that's what we're doing today. We are planning. We're not planning blindly. We're planning with deliberate steps. And we really hope that you will make this as interactive as possible. The tagline for Bronzeville Smart is plug in. And for us, we really thought that as opposed to having our afternoon, after our, typically after our keynote speaker, we have a series of breakout workshops what we thought we needed to do is to get folks into the community to start plugging in. What's happening for me, particularly being on this new development team, is a lot of people saying, where are the opportunities to invest? Where is the venture capital needed? What's going on? Who's expanding? Who's doing what? So we have 6 tour guides who actually, this is their business. I mean, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have had 6 people to go and do 6 tours in 6 zones. So we have been making progress in terms of heritage tourism development. So we're going to get more focused on our other T's, the technology and the transportation. And so you see our latest mascot out there, the Dash. There is a community advisory team that has been working on the best way to implement that for a rollout. And they actually, the plan was that this would be a last mile mobility demonstration, but it's actually something that is now becoming even more focused on helping maybe some of the seniors who really, we've got seniors who like to go. They want to be engaged. They want to plug in too. So we're announcing a couple of things, and I'd like for a couple of people to join me, and I'm going to turn the mic over to a second partner who, like ComEd, really has a big vision, and that is the U.S. Green Building Council for Illinois. They have a program called the EPIC Challenge that has been offered to the 77 neighborhoods, and we're one of the ones that are saying, yes, we're ready. It's time, we're ready. And so that opportunity allows us to know a lot about sustainability and carbon drawdown strategies. They have a wonderful website. And I got encouraged because there's over 80 solutions for drawdown. And literally 10 years ago, all that we probably would have been checking was, yes, we're changing light bulbs, and yes, we're doing better with, what do you call it when you pad the walls? Insulation, right? We're doing better with that. But this time, when we're looking at the 80 strategies, we're realizing, well, wait a minute, we are doing last mile mobility and electric vehicles. We do have a Bronzeville microgrid that we're working on. IT already has a microgrid. We do have district heating and cooling at MPEA at the McCormick Square. So we're realizing that we are poised and positioned to be that sustainable community. So I'm going to bring up Brian Imus, and just to give you a little more information about the other new initiative and partner. Brian has brought information that's on the counter along with more information about Bronzeville Community of the Future. I tell you, things are going together that we didn't plan. When you look at, this is the first time I saw this sign in these colors, and this is what our designer came up with for Bronzeville Smart. So all these things are working together, and Brian, if you'd like to come up and tell us a little bit more about the EPIC Challenge. Thank you.
Great. I am thrilled to be here today. This is really exciting for me as an advocate who believes that green building is critical to strengthening our neighborhoods. The technologies that go into resilient neighborhoods and green buildings are things that can make an impact in everyone's lives. And that's why I work with the Illinois Green Building Council and why I love what we do. A little bit of background on the organization. We've been around for 15 years here in Illinois, and we are a nonprofit, membership-based, membership-driven organization. Our members are tied to green building in some way professionally. They're in the real estate industry, they are engineers, they work for construction companies, and they happen to really believe that green building can make a difference in everyone's lives. That's why they're involved, and they want to give back their expertise to make a difference. As I mentioned, we've been around for 15 years, and recently we started to evaluate where we're at as an organization and how we've been able to make an impact. And we recognized that there was a need to bring sustainability know-how to more buildings and to more communities and to more places. And so that's where we launched this EPIC Challenge for the green building community. What are we going to do to reach every single neighborhood and every single community? Our members got really excited about something called carbon drawdown strategies. It sounds kind of fancy. It's actually an international effort to catalog or create a grocery list of all these great technologies or best practices that can make a difference. These 80 strategies, they are carbon drawdown strategies for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, it's because they already exist. We believe you do not need a moonshot. You don't need to invent anything new to make a difference. You simply need to take what we already know, like Paula was talking about, and bring them to scale and bring them to neighborhoods, because that's how we're going to tackle our climate crisis, but tackle it in a way that makes a difference for people's lives. Second, these carbon drawdown strategies are on that list because they have intrinsic other values that you would want to do. One way to think of it, if climate scientists didn't exist, if we didn't know that there was a problem right now with global warming, you would still want to do these carbon drawdown strategies anyway, because they save people money, because they create jobs, because they make our communities more resilient. A lot of these strategies, and I'll give you some examples, they're things that we can't all do ourselves, like microgrids. It's about partnering and working with others. Solar rooftops, things like that. But there are other strategies that all of us can do in our own homes. One example is LED lighting. That is an example where we're tackling a big international problem, but we're saving ourselves money and making a difference in our community. Another is smart thermostats. Pretty simple, basic technology. By 2050, if there is an increase, right now about 0.4% of Americans have smart thermostats. It's estimated by 2050, we could get to a place where 46% of Americans have smart thermostats in their homes. If we can get there, literally people can save billions of dollars on their utility bills. That's a big difference to people's lives, and it's a big difference to making the world a better place. So that's why, as an organization, we're really excited about implementing these carbon drawdown strategies. We set out 3 goals on how we're going to measure our success with this epic challenge. First and foremost, we're going to get these carbon drawdown strategies implemented in 3,500 buildings around Chicago. Second, we're going to educate and engage 30,000 people. We want to go beyond just green building professionals. We want to reach everybody and tell them about why these things are important, either because they care about the climate, the environment, or because they just care about saving money, creating jobs, making a difference in their community. And then third, to get all of these implemented, it's about doing it in every neighborhood. And for us as a small organization that's volunteer-led, that's about partnerships, like partnerships with Paula, with ComEd, with Bronzeville Smart. That's the only way we're going to succeed. Our success is all about partnerships, and that's why I am so thrilled and honored to be here today. So I'm looking forward to the program, and I'm looking forward to the future and continuing to work.
So there are a few other partners that are here, and we're going to get right into our summit, but I'd like to acknowledge them and ask them to come up if those representatives are here. If they're not, you'll at least know who we've been working with for a while on these sustainability initiatives. Blacks in Green, and I know that they're not here. They're actually hosting our reception tonight at the Bronze Club in the Parkway. I hope you're going to join us. This is Blacks in Green with Women in Green doing the Big Wig Awards. So it's Women's History Month, and we're going to have cocktails, keep the networking going. And so we will leave here at 5 o'clock, but when you join us over at the Parkway, there's free parking there as well. So Blacks in Green, the Calumet Collaborative, C&T, Cisco, Chicago Park District, Field Museum, Illinois Institute of Technology, Innova EV, the National Trust for Historic Preservation, the National Park Service, Open Lands, the Connectory, the Nature Conservancy, Windfree Solar, and Youth Build through Prologue Inc. So if any of those representatives, I think I saw Francis and a few other people, great. Please come up, and we'd like to get Melinda and Brian back. And so this is our announcement. We are going to work with the community. We're gonna work with all of the partners. We want to take some really bold steps. I had an interview the other day, and I argued with the reporter because I said that Bronzeville is probably Chicago's most sustainable community already. And she said, well, you can't really say that. I said, yes, we can, because we're taking this approach of, to have a smart city, you gotta have smart homes, you gotta have smart communities. He said, yes, but you're saying that Bronzeville is already one of Chicago's most sustainable neighborhoods. And the reason I can say that, in terms of even the history of the Black Belt and the being cordoned in and literally having that kind of innovation taking place, there was another thing that was going on that's happened now, and that's through the CHA Plan for Transformation. Bronzeville had the highest level of public housing anywhere in the country. The Plan for Transformation has now brought more of the most sustainable housing all together in one community. Because when you're driving down State Street, that's what you're seeing. The solar panel, the high efficiency toilets, refrigerator, washer, dryer. And guess what? Even the senior homes. So our seniors are becoming the most sustainable. Our seniors are gonna be the ones that start us out riding around in electric vehicles. So when she says you can't make that statement, I say we can. And I think that that's the kind of vision, and I think we have to be bold, and we have to expect that we are going to be fully engaged and plugged in on this new economy. So I'd like to ask you to support our partners in really taking the bold steps, engaging with the community, recognizing that we can use these resources and we can make this happen. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy the summit. A little tighter?
You want us to be in front of it, or I think behind it is good?
Okay, all right, I can lower this. Thank you.
Good job.
Oh,
That
thank
was
you,
wonderful.
thank you.
Good.
Good, okay.
You got my vote. You're going
Good.
to the public office. I'm voting for you.
Yes, we can, right? Yes, we can, that's right. Great. And I see everybody but our photographer.
Gotcha.
No,
Picture.
right, where, yeah, come on, Cotty. Where's, okay, yes, Larissa, we want to get a photo too. Yeah, okay. Tighter, tighter, okay.
Nice and cozy.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Okay,